Army heroes fought a third attack by the terrorists of ISIS on al-Tabqa airport, killing and injuring 200 terrorists. British and Dutch officials demand coordination with Syria to face ISIS, but the Americans remain stubborn. Iraqi forces kill leader of the ISIS terrorist group in Baqouba of Diyala province, northeast of the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. Good afternoon. Welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. The Syrian Arab Army continues to eliminate the terrorists and to thwart their infiltration attempts and their attacks on the citizens and the military posts. A Syrian Arab Army unit repelled an attack by the terrorists on a military post in Tel Khadr in Dalla countryside, killing dozens of terrorists and injuring others. Other army units targeted the terrorists' gatherings in the farm of Abu Yasin al-Hariri and the surrounding area, killing many terrorists and also destroyed 3 of their machine gun-equipped vehicles, eliminating all terrorists inside. In al-Nusra countryside, the Syrian Arab Army units killed many terrorists and injured others, targeting their gatherings in Rasm al-Burghul, Ain al-Darb, Majduliya and Mumtani. Meanwhile, Syrian Arab Army units killed many terrorists, some of them non-Syrians, in the neighborhoods of al-Rushdiya, al-Ardi and al-Huwaika in the city of Deir ez-Zor. The hopes of the mercenary terrorists from ISIS to take over al-Tabqa military airport in Raqqa were ruthlessly quashed at the hands of the Syrian Arab Army. Tens of dead bodies of those terrorists have been left lying on the ground all along the area surrounding the strategic airport in the northern province. Despite the media incitement in support of ISIS terrorists in their attack against the airport and the scale of weapons which they employed in their attacks over the past days, the terrorists could not hold their ground as they have been faced with the unshakable bravery and strength of the armed forces, according to a field commander. Field commander said that the terrorists were forced to retreat after they suffered heavy losses in personnel and equipment. He confirmed that al-Tabqa military airport is secure and the army members guarding it are targeting the terrorist positions in the surrounding area, pointing out that the army units have established control over the adjacent Al-Ajail town. The position of the town, the commander said, has provided the army with a springboard to monitor and pound ISIS terrorists' positions in al-Tabqa area. He affirmed that severe losses were inflicted upon the terrorists, with many of the tanks, launchers and vehicles which they were using in their attacks were seized. Another field commander recounted how armed mercenary terrorist groups attempted on Thursday night to storm and infiltrate the airport. In Homs countryside, the Syrian Arab Army units foiled several infiltration attempts by the terrorists who tried to sneak from Hosh Hajo towards the secure areas in Hosh al-Agha in Talbise and between the villages of al-Bitmi and al-Muhasham. Syrian Arab Army also targeted several gatherings for the terrorists in Jisr al-Kharab in al-War and around the electricity power station in Dar al-Kabira, as well as in the villages of Fa'u Shawish, Salam Sharqi, Rahuma and al-Msherfi, killing many terrorists and destroying their weapons. Syrian Arab Army units also killed many terrorists and injured others in Tel Dao, Birshqai and Samail in al-Hule countryside, as well as in the tree farm in Palmyra. As part of fighting terrorism, the Syrian Arab Army units carried out several military operations against the terrorists in Hama northern and northwestern countryside, killing a large number of terrorists, some of them non-Syrians. Iraqi forces eliminated one of ISIS leaders in Baquba and Diyala governorate to the northeast of the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. The Iraqi armed forces destroyed hideouts for the so-called Islamic State of Iraq and the Sham terrorist organization in the areas of Amarliya and Tikrit in Salah ad-Din governorate and in Al-Haditha and Al-Anbar governorate and killed 65 terrorists. Under the pretext of faith and politics, Kuwaiti takfiris have been overtly backing the terrorists in Syria. Prominent Kuwaiti parliamentarians like Walid al-Tabtabai, Jamal al-Harbash, Mubarak al-Walan, Fallah al-Sawagh, Badr al-Dahum, Naif al-Mirdas, and Hamad al-Mater, and sheikhs like Shafi al-Ajami, Abdul Aziz al-Fadli, Hajjaj al-Ajami, and Saeed al-Ajami have all been supporting the campaign called Kuwait's Great Campaign to recruit about 12,000 of what they called invaders, a term which later was changed to be jihadists, to go and fight in Syria. About $30 million have been raised in support of their campaign. Kuwaiti media outlets have disclosed these facts, warning at the same time against the imminent threat posed by the so-called Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant and other terrorist organizations in Kuwait. Kuwaiti sheikh and media man Wasim Youssef has indicated that former Kuwaiti parliamentarian Walid al-Tabtaba is one of the prominent figures who has been politically backing Jabhat al-Nusra and ISIS in Syria and made several visits to areas inside Syria where Jabhat al-Nusra and ISIS terrorists are fighting to voice support to them by supplying them with arms and funds. When asked about the attitude of the Kuwaiti government regarding his stances, al-Tabtaba said that it had to be with him and his government. Among those Kuwaiti figures whose names were among those listed by the SC as liable to international sanctions for their connection with al-Qaeda was the 26-year-old al-Hajjaj al-Ajami, who is regarded as the financial supporter of Nusra Front in Syria and who made many visits to Syria to fund the terrorists there and to recruit Kuwaitis to occupy leading posts within Jabhat al-Nusra. Unconfirmed information has indicated that the terrorist al-Ajami was detained upon arriving at Kuwait airport on his way back home from Qatar. Western governments have never stopped to express deep concerns over the threat posed by extremism on their countries. Recently, the French authorities have detained 2 female French teenagers on charge of planning to travel to Syria to support the terrorists there in the so-called sexual jihad, among other 60 persons who have been interrogated on charges of joining terrorist organizations. The British Telegraph has published a report entitled 20 Westerners other than Foley are detained by ISIS, in which it indicates that the number of those detained arouses worries that the ISIS has the capability to carry out its threats by killing more of these Westerners. The newspaper, moreover, has listed the names of the British terrorists who have been fighting in Syria, among them Abu Abdullah, Riyad Khan, Nasir Muthanna, Abu al-Bara al-Hindi and others. British estimates have indicated that those British who have joined the ISIS have outnumbered those Muslims who have joined the British Army, adding that the latest ramifications of this was that the terrorist who beheaded the American journalist James Foley had a British citizenship. New York Times newspaper made it clear by saying that Saudi Arabia had to eliminate roots of terrorism whose seeds were planted when a tribal agreement between Saud family and Wahhabism was signed 70 years ago, adding that throughout 5 decades Saudi Arabia has represented the state that has been sponsoring Salafism worldwide. The newspaper went on to say that the Saudi king and his advisors had no wish whatsoever to abolish this tribal agreement dating back more than 270 years and concluded between Saud family and the founder of Wahhabism, adding that this vicious and devilish agreement had to be abolished. The Dutch foreign minister says that fighting the ISIS can never succeed without cooperating with the Syrian government, whereas the U.S. military official said that the sophistication, wealth and military might of Islamic State militants pose a major threat to the United States, which may surpass that from al-Qaeda, as the U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel told the reporters at the Pentagon that the ISIS is an imminent threat to every interest of the U.S. in Iraq or elsewhere. Still, the U.S. tries to invest the ISIS to the end in order to reach its goals in the region. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani uncovered 4 of the newest defense achievements in air and missile feeds which have been made on the hands of Iranian experts. President Rouhani stressed that these achievements aim to deter the enemy, as these achievements were uncovered on the occasion of the Iranian Defensive Industries Day, as they include cruise missiles Qadir, Nasar and Basir, and drones for tracing and aerial mapping. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching us. For more details about Syria and the region, you can view this bulletin again on our website in English, syriaonline.sy. After the break is Vani with our economic and business news. God bless you and long live Syria.